so I am working with this angle again because I feel like it worked really well last time. And today it is all rainy and stormy again too, so the lighting might get a little bit weird as the dark clouds roll in because we can definitely hear the thunder from far away, so it's coming, but I don't know how quickly. But today I am going to change Miles into this little white under onesie and these really cute overalls. I heavily debated on doing white or yellow in the background for the onesie, but white just looked more crisp, so I think we're gonna go with that. And it's really, really cute. I got this with him in his box. It's a Cat and Jack little overall piece, and then this little koala onesie is from Old Navy. And today I am going to talk a little bit about kind of what makes a certain doll feel more special, or you feel like more bonded to them. Because a little while back I realized how long I had Winona. I believe like it was at this point where I think I had her for like 5 months, and it literally felt like I only had her for 2. Like, that's how still excited I was about her, because we all know what that new baby feeling is. And I feel like that new baby feeling for me usually lasts a good 4 months-ish before like I can kind of start to tell like, oh, I'm getting very used to this doll. They don't wow me as much, even though I still enjoy them. So I hope that makes sense. I'm still like very bonded to the doll, but I feel like some dolls maybe just have like a little bit more of an intense wow factor to me, and I thought that was very interesting. So I kind of posed the question on Instagram to see if other people kind of had that same thing with different dolls, like whether they felt like certain dolls they were more bonded to, or they felt like those dolls were a little bit more special for one reason or another to them. And I kind of started to think a little bit more about it, because some people sort of mentioned that there's certain features that make them a little bit more bonded to a doll than others, and that's how they stay bonded for longer. And I think like the whole reborn bond concept is a very interesting concept, because I mean, we're all sometimes attached to different inanimate objects, but I just feel like the way we can be with art, especially reborns, can be so different, and it's just really cool to see how everyone sort of thinks and feels about it. So I thought about diving into this topic a little bit more on video and kind of hearing my YouTube friends' thoughts about it. So the first thing that came to mind when I thought of like what dolls I felt more bonded to and what I felt were more special than others, the first thing that came to my mind was just how realistic the doll was. I remember that my very, very first realistic doll that I was completely taken aback by because of the detail and the technique used was Kaylee. And even though I sold her, I can still think back to, you know, what she looked like, and there's still some techniques that the artist used that I've never seen any other artist use, and I think that they were just beautiful and incredible, and I loved them. And so sometimes when you see something that's so new and you have to take in the detail and really like resonate with it, I guess, because it's just something that you've never experienced before, I think it makes that bond last longer. So with Winona, Holly Paz's work just has a look to it that I've never seen before. I've never seen someone be able to create that newborn look quite like Holly does. And so I think that every time I just look at Winona, I find something new that I've never really like noticed before, and it just makes me fall in love with her so much more, because even just a couple weeks ago I noticed that she had some like little painted on fine baby hairs on her arm, and I know that's like such like a weird thing, but I feel like especially in my family, because we're all Italians, that we were kind of a little hairy as babies, and so I think it's just like really interesting and amazing. And I just feel like, you know, even though I got her, I think early October of last year, 2019, there's just still things that I can find that are new that I am just marveled by. And I think that's really important when you're finding a doll, is to find an artist that has a new technique that you've never seen before and really just paints in their own beautiful way that you're really going to enjoy. And I should probably get him a brush. I guess we'll put on the overalls first. But anyway, another thing that I was like kind of thinking of that really played into it was not just the artist, but the sculpt. And I did see Pixie Mommy's video of her talking about how important it is to find a sculpt that you love. And I could definitely resonate with that video, because there are many dolls that I had that were done very beautifully by different artists, and but their kit just didn't really wow me, and I think that's a really, really big deal. So that was kind of the thing that I had with, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name, with Tallulah. I'm so sorry, you guys. With Tallulah, I only had her for a couple weeks because her painting was incredible. The artist did an amazing job, but the kit just wasn't working for me. I'd say like the two main things that I think are very important when finding a kit for me are facial features and the way that the legs are sculpted. So I don't know if you guys have ever had a doll that has completely straight legs, but it is very hard to get them into a natural looking position, and they're also just not as cuddly. So I think that I really like the how the legs are sculpted, and how that is super important. Like Miles has a very beautiful like curve to his legs, so when you're holding him, your arm kind of goes in the little crease of his leg and the little bend, and he just fits and is very cuddly. So that's a really big deal. And same thing with Winona. Her legs are very, very curly, so I was a little bit worried about that. But now that I've had her for so long, I think she's probably one of the cuddliest kits ever. So if you guys are considering getting a kit that has those like little curled up legs like the Levi or the Rosalie, I think that you should definitely go for it because it's awesome. And then I think hands and feet being sculpted correctly are also kind of a big deal. I've seen some kits where the toes kind of just look like one block and they're not like little individually sculpted toes, and that's a huge deal for me. Same thing if like the doll has a fist and they kind of just like drew lines on the hand and then try to make it that way rather than doing like individual fingers. That makes a huge, huge difference in my opinion as well. So that is a huge thing that I look for when I'm looking for kits, but most sculptors now don't do that. You really only find that on super old kits. So if you get like a kit that was made in 2013, that might be something that you want to look into. But if you get a kit that was made anytime recently, they're not going to have like those blocky features. So because sculptors have just learned so much in the past 5 years, it is amazing. So that is really, really cool. And same thing with facial features. I feel like that is the most important part because that's what you're looking at and that's what's kind of maybe evoking your emotion. And so I think that everyone has a preference when it comes to faces. Some people like very peaceful and serene. That's definitely me, which is why I tend to gravitate towards closed-eyed babies. However, some people really like those lively looking dolls that are smiling or laughing or crying. So I'm glad that there are so many different types of kits out there, and so it caters to everyone in the community. Another thing that I'm really big on is lips. I do love the full lips. So if you look at Miles' lips, they are luscious. They're very pretty. So it's one thing that I love about his sculpt. Look at how sweet he is. I love that face, you guys. I'm gonna get a brush for his hair because it's a little bit messy. But kind of continuing on the topic while I try to get his hair brush. I seem to always forget about it in these changing videos. Anyway, another thing kind of considering the limbs as I was talking about earlier is I feel like it's also important to have a doll that you think is cuddly. So the limbs play a part in that, but it's also the body. And that's really easy to change, but if the doll doesn't have a good size body when I first get them, I am not bonded right away. I have to get the new body ordered and get them on the new body before I'm like, okay, now I can start this process. So that is a huge thing, I think, because I've definitely had dolls that just came with like a gigantic body and they had like little chicken arms and it just did not work at all. And then, you know, they don't really cuddle in your arms quite right. Same thing with weighting. You know, if their head's not heavy enough, you're not really going to get as good of a cuddle factor. Same thing with the limbs. I think the best baby that I've ever had come to me weighted perfectly was actually Miles. So if you ever get a doll from Georgia's Sweet Creations, you are going to be able to bond with that doll immediately because it is going to be so cuddly, which is great. I'm trying to think of like what else I really have to look for when I'm looking for a doll that I'm like, oh, this is going to be a really special doll because it has all these things kind of going on at once. Clothing is a huge deal. If the doll doesn't fit in clothing very well, like I said, because of the big body or because they're like an awkward size or something like that, it'll take me a little bit longer to bond, or I won't have as strong as a bond with that doll. I feel like this kit, if you guys ever decide to get the, oh gosh, I can never say the name, Eirlys? I'll put it in the description down below. If you ever decide to get this kit, I feel like it's very well proportioned. He fits in 3-month size clothing perfectly. Sometimes I get 3 to 6 month size just because I like clothing being a little bit baggy because it makes the baby look a little bit more delicate in my opinion, and it's not going to be tight or anything. But his feet fit in 3-month size socks really well. His legs do, his arms do, even his head fits in 3-month size hats perfectly. So that's a really good sign that the baby is just super realistic. So I guess that's really the big overarching idea, is that the doll that you find the most realistic based on the artwork, the sculpting features, the cuddle features, and how they fit in their clothing, that really all goes into how realistic the doll is. And it's all, you know, kind of your own personal thought, but if you believe that doll is super realistic and the perfect piece of art for you, then you're going to be bonded to that doll for longer and enjoy it much more, I guess. So anyway, I want to know what you guys think about this topic, and what are some features that you guys feel like you just bond way better with this doll because of blank thing. Because I think this is just so unique to each collector, and I just love hearing how other people collect and what they think about sculpts and artists and everything like that. So hopefully we can have a good discussion down below, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.